Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Zelta Juvita Elsida, NPM 2288203015. Here I will give my arguments why I agree and why I'm disagree with the topic below. First topic about these halls would make it mandatory for schools to include mental health education in the curriculum. Arguments for agree. Number one, reduce the stigma of mental health problems with youth education. Students will learn that mental health problems are as important as physical health and are not something to be ashamed of. This can help reduce the stigma that is often attached to people with mental disorders. For example, after receiving education about mental health, a student may be more open to talking to a school counselor if they are feeling anxious without fear of being judged by their peers. Number two, increasing students' awareness of mental health. If mental health was taught in schools, students will be more aware of the importance of looking after their mental health. They can learn to recognize signs of stress, anxiety, or depression early, and know how to deal with them or when seeks help. For example, a student dealing with the stress of a bad grade might learn breathing techniques for meditation in a mental health class, which can help them deal with the stress before it gets worse. Number three, prepare students to face life challenges. Life is full of stress and pressure, especially in adolescents. By getting education about mental health, students will have the tools and knowledge they need to face these challenges. For example, a student who learns ways to manage emotion and stress at school may be better prepared to face exam or family problems without feeling overwhelmed. I'm disagree about topic. Number one, time requires limitation. School already have many subjects to teach, and adding on and adding one more subject can be a burden for both students and teachers. Additionally, not all schools have the resources, such as teachers, especially trained in mental health, to run these programs well. For example, in some schools, teacher may have this difficult teaching all the available subjects. Adding mental health education can make the schedule busier and reduce the quality of learning in other subjects. Next, second, not all parents agree. Some parents may feel that education about mental health is the responsibility of the family, not the school. They disapprove of their children being taught about topics that are considered sensitive or personal. For example, uncomfortable if their child is taught about depression or anxiety at school because they believe this issue are best discussed within the family. Uh, Next, possible misunderstanding or misu. If mental health material is not taught correctly, there is a risk that students will misunderstand the information, which can lead to unnecessary worry or self-diagnosis errors. For example, a student who is just learning about anxiety disorders may mistake feeling of nervous before a presentation a sign of a serious mental disorders when they are normal response to the situation. Second topic, host believes that traditional cultural practice should be preserved even if they conflict with modern value. I am agree because preserving cultural identity and heritage. Traditional cultural practices are part of a society identity and heritage, even though some conflict with modern value. This practice preserves the importance of preserving the cultural and historical diversity that has been passed down from generation to generation. For example, traditional ceremonies in some tribes are still carried out even in the modern era because it is an important part of their identity. Example, in some areas, traditional such as mutual cooperation in the form of traditional event are still mainstayed, even though nowadays people are more individualistic. This maintains a sense of togetherness and solidarity within the community. Second arguments, respect external value and benefits. Many traditional cultural practices are based on value and beliefs that have been held by our external for characteristics. Abandoning this practice could be considered disgrace for the cultural roots and spirituality of a community. Example, in some cultures, traditional such as traditional wedding ceremony are still maintained, although that process is longer and more complicated than modern weddings because this is a from respect for ancestors. I'm disagree this topic because some practice contrary of human rights. Some traditional cultural practice may conflict with human rights practices or modern ethics. Maintaining this practice can be detrimental to individuals, especially if they influence discrimination, violence, or violation of basic rights. For example, the traditional of marriage at a very young age, which still occurs in some areas, can be detrimental to girls because it is conflict with their right to enjoy childhood and receive and proper education. Next, encouraging progress and modernization that are in relevant or conflict with other value can encourage society to develop faster and better. This can help create a more equitable and inclusive environment for everyone. For example, in the digital era, some traditional that prohibit women from studying or working may need to be abandoned because they hinder women's progress in society. In this debate, the arguments for and against have valid points. What is important is to find a balance between preserving valuable culture and value, while respecting progress and individuals' rights in modern society. Third topic is this host believes that healthcare is a basic human right and should be provided free of charge. Agree because health is everyone's basic right. Everyone has the right to adequate health care regardless of economic status by providing free health service. The government ensures that everyone, including those who are less fortunate, can get the care they need. Example, imagine someone who lost their job and doesn't have health insurance. If health services were free, they could still get treatment for serious illness without worrying about costs. Second argument, reduce social inequality. Free healthcare can help reduce the gap between rich and poor. People who can afford it often don't get timely treatment because of the right cost, which can take a toll on their condition. For example, in some countries, diseases such as diabetes or hypertension are more common in lower income groups because they cannot afford the necessary medication. Disagree about third topic because very high cost to the government providing free healthcare to everyone will require enormous cost, and this will be difficult for the government to manage. This could result in higher tax or budgets deficit that burdens the economy. For example, in some country that our free healthcare, there is a problem with a very high tax to cover the cost. This can be a heavy burden for residents, risk of system bows. If health service are totally free, there is a possibility that people will abuse this service, such as visiting doctor for trivial matters or asking for medicine that are not really needs, which can make the system inefficient. For example, someone may frequently go to the ER for minor problems like the flu just because it is free, ultimately leading to a health facility for um, schools. Decreased service quality. When health services are free, there may be a decline in quality due to high demands and pressure on medical personnel to and health facility. In country with the free healthcare, waiting times for non-emergency surgeries can be very long due to the large number of patients, resulting in people having to wait months to receive treatment. In conclusion, the debate about whether health service should be free or not involves many considerations, including aspects of fairness, cost, and efficiency of the health system. It is important to strike a balance between providing affordable and quality service and ensuring. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.